Good morning, gang. Kathy Vick, deeply awake. How have you been? Has it been super weird? I'm going to tell you what it's been like for me. Let's see here. What I've been realizing, I've been watching some of my tapes. And I realize I've been making a mistake. Because I am a humble soul, I have not really wanted to explain tape to tape my story. And so I will reference important things in my story without explaining them because I don't want to talk about it. I just want to reference it. But you really only do that with friends who are walking with you, not with strangers. And so when I've been watching some of these tapes, it's like, what the what? I don't know anything about you, girl. I wish you'd explain that. So I have been very pleased that I worked through all of my changes, but I realized too how hard it might be for someone who's just joining in to feel like they understand what the what. So I would like very much to change that by just talking a little bit about what's been going on like the last month or so. And maybe you'll hear your experience in mine. This has been going on for a while, but when I wake up in the morning, I will sometimes just get a flash of a picture. Often I don't get any visuals, but I am counseled. They're, to me, the purest thoughts of my day. And it's the first, minute or so of my day is a huge download. And the agreement I have is that if it's something that is easier for me to understand experientially, then if it's up and something that I need to master, then it'll come to me during the day. But if it's something that I can just understand on my own, it'll be presented to me in my thoughts, and it'll overlay on the experiences, and I'll have a nice learning time. Today, the message was about doing and being. Oftentimes, I'm shown my natal chart right at the very beginning as an illustration, and they use all kinds of graphics, but I have been feeling very pressured, kind of. More and more like I'm missing out. I'm going to miss out because I'm not writing the way I want to, the way I know I should. It's a should. But it's a good should. It's the grown-up kind of should of, dear, it's time now, honey. It's time. Put your toys down. It's time. So I've been feeling some pressure about what do I do next, and I've been feeling like I want to put in place things that I have that I'm behind, that I need to put in place things that I have been wanting to put into place, but now I feel like I'm suddenly I went from having dreams to, I don't know, feeling impatient that I haven't put them in place. And so today the information was about being and doing, and that it's sort of also a duality, that they really are just different expressions of the same state. And that all is well. to trust, trust. But I hope that you understand, I trust human beings to do what human beings feel they must. I don't trust them to do right by me and to protect me and to be kind to me. I trust that they're going to do what they feel is best. And sometimes that's not in my best interest. And that's okay. I don't have to be around them. So far, if that's all I figured out, that's worth a couple bucks, isn't it? I think so. But this duality, that's what I've been talking about all this time. When you're right in the middle of it, arguing with it, and protecting yourself from its blows and getting banged around by it, it feels really real. It's supposed to. To opt out means that you're opting out of a lot. A lot. And so I want to talk about what it's like to grow up spiritually and to straddle dimensions in your body, looking out of your eyes, paying bills, chatting with friends. I'm going to attach a video by Teal Swan about this. I think that she called it The Truth about Channels and Channelers. And in it, she gives a very profound discourse on energy that it's been very hard for me to describe, but which walks with me, instructs me, and sustains me. It has been a very curious thing to me to carry what I carry, and to have to be around people who don't understand me. And if I tried to explain, would feel threatened and hurt and scared. You don't have to believe those words. I am telling you. I carry energy that if I were to unleash it, like I did at a church about a month and a half ago, I could feel the crowd as I was talking, and I could feel them turn. And I was reminded of what it's like to be around those who are threatened in their souls by your words. I handled it okay, and everything went all right, but I was not welcome in that group. And like I said on video, it didn't bother me because I wasn't there for them. I had come on assignment to talk to a very unhappy person. For some reason, I found myself at this event. I don't know how. The circumstances, I just got a wild hair. And a friend who I never, ever see, or very infrequently see, was there. And I know she was there to hold the energy. And a man got up and started talking about Jesus. He talked about his anger and his distrust. And he was in so much pain. And I spoke. I got the mic as it went around, and I spoke. And wow, the crowd didn't like what I had to say. But he was listening. And after it was done, I was leaving, and my friend was already outside. And I encountered the speaker. And in private, he told me of his pain, of his betrayal, of his abuse in the name of Jesus. I don't remember what I said, but I remember the relief in his face before I left. I got home and I realized, because they were told me, this is what your life is now. We're sending you on assignments. Just have fun with it. Mine is to really enjoy it. But I've been sent on assignments since. And I have come to believe and know, not believe, take for granted that the people involved with me, and certainly the ones I can touch and look in the eye, they are there on purpose. And those who are not around me couldn't handle it. Simple as that. They're not keyed for it. Because I change people and situations and timelines wherever I go. Teal said something that I'll mention. It's like the 11th dimensional energy. And her description of this was really brilliant, because, and I just had never heard it described as 11th dimension before. My group talked about the 11th dimension. They talked about being at the door, that there are membranes in these dimensions. And at the 11th, there is a membrane. And they stand there. They're from far beyond, but they stand at that door. And they don't talk about the 12th. They don't go any further than the 11th. Because that's pretty much all that a physical human brain can. You don't need more than the 11th. That's fine. That's enough. Just put it there. So this 11th dimensional energy is what certainly my teachers carried, and it's what I carry. And there are no opposites. There is no duality. There is no death. There is no sin. And what matters is enlightenment. So they know the roadmap. They have the higher perspective. Well, for me, that's been tricky, because I carry that. I'm keyed for that. I understand it. And it calls to me, and it inserts itself in my life, and it's just my nature to be out in the clouds, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm human. And I like it dark. I like it twisty. I like extremes. I enjoy it. I am as dark as I am light. So, I had around me, well, I'll tell it to you this way. A friend at work, I don't know, he and I just talk honestly, and I was telling him one day, you know, when I was working as a nurse, I worked among people who were suffering and they were pissed off and it was my fault. And I didn't have support, and I had a whole bunch of people telling me how fucked up I was. And that was hell. And this job here that I'm in now, this is the kind of job that you'd take if you were in paradise, but you had to hold down a job. That's how I feel. I had my hip replaced a year and 2 days ago. And by the time that was replaced, I really literally had no hope. I had none. I did not, none. I can't tell you how blank I got from that chronic pain. It is a very difficult thing to live with a chronic illness, and I'm so lucky, blessed that my chronic illness was cured a year and 2 days ago. I had a part switched out, and last night I made a mistake. I said it didn't take very long before I was up swinging a pickaxe and in mining for crystals with my friend, a new hobby of mine. It took a few months, and the first time I went on that mountain, I was so scared, and I needed my friend to help me get up and get down, and it was really scary. But in the last year, we made many trips to the mountains and to many different places, and I pickaxed my heart out. I love to sink steel through granite. It makes me feel so happy. And to be in the forest, and oh my, and to be with my friend. I'm so lucky to know him. But the thing is that I have friends like that now. Maybe one of the reasons you don't see me as much is because I have really, really sparkly conversations with people all the time now. Whoever thought that would happen? I talked about the turning away. I would want to talk about all of this, any of it. People would turn away. And it would confound me. I'd be so filled with just goodwill and love and generosity and want to just share it. Man, oh man, people were threatened by that. It was really freaky. It took me a while to adjust to that. Because in 2012, I just felt such a surge of just wanting to connect, but not wanting anything back, just wanting to connect. I understand now that I'm not the only one who has suffered trauma, and that a lot of people don't understand what to do around me. They don't know what it means and what they're going to be responsible for in the long run. And the answer is nothing. You may not even see me again, so just enjoy this, how about? But Um, I'm trying to, or not trying to, I find that I'm moving from a period of, uh, I don't know, like an overlap of lives. Just recently I've felt this, lightening, and sort of I realized I could grieve this if I wanted to, because I feel like there's a part of me missing. I just feel lighter, and I'm not exactly sure where it went. Uh, and I know what it is I've not misplaced, but that's not around. It's that grinding guilt. It's the self-hatred, the fear, the panic, just all the trauma stuff. Looking at my process since 2012, people are going to have many, many different interpretations. Some will say I had a psychotic break, that I succumbed to hearing voices in my head and acting accordingly. Others will know, because they'll read. Maybe they'll even meet me. And I used to really feel the need to manage people's interpretations. That way I'd be safe. No one would think I'm crazy if I can just explain myself. Yeah, I'm done with that. The turning away has stopped. I've always known that once a population makes some shifts, they're going to understand what it is that I've done and how I can help them. And it just is a waiting game, because my work is done. So it's been fun to see that things are changing. About the last, I'd say, 2 months or so, I feel permission. I have people actually wanting to talk to me about stuff that's, spiritual. It's not weaponized anymore. Somehow, it's okay to be me. And before, you're just going to have to trust me on this. Things freaking turned to shit when I decloaked. They turned to shit, and it's not happening anymore. And so for me, almost every day feels a little bit like Christmas, because where people used to just turn away, they're not anymore. And it feels good. Now, I love it. The response sometimes is, well, it's because you've changed. Gee, you think? But yeah, I know I did. But I truly didn't expect anybody else to. I didn't expect my world to change. I expected everybody to keep being assholes, and they're just not. So I don't know what to tell you. I think it's pretty awesome. I'm also having blocks of time, not just a moment or two, but literally hours of being like thrilled. Just this weird, good, warm, thrilling place of liking myself, liking everything that I've done, appreciating myself. And, I don't talk about it too much because, well, around me, narcissism, that's a watchword. And it could be easily misinterpreted. if you don't know what narcissism is. Genuine self-appreciation, that's gold. You, like me, were wounded. Maybe you, like me, had wounds that were complete. Maybe you, like me, walked around feeling dead. Disconnected. Maybe. Each of us have wounds, and some are gaping, and they get in the way of daily life. And for some reason, the hardest thing in the world is to know what to say to that child who used to be you, who's in an impossible situation, and you can't rescue them. That's been really tricky. And it's very, very fun and weird that the series and the videos and the things that I've been accessing lately all are talking about this. Time travel, and it's all about time travel now. And reclamation of the part of you that is needing your love, who needs to stop running the show, who needs some attention. I repeatedly, several times a day, for a long time now, it's just sort of like yeah, I know, moving on to another thought. But this idea that really death and sexuality, those are the two issues that if humanity could get a handle on those things, other things would iron themselves out. The crap that people do to each other, just all that stuff, from the government all the way down to the bullshit that your boss pulls on you. It has to do with disordered sexuality and a feared death. And these are taboo subjects that nobody really wants to approach. But without addressing these fundamental mysteries, people just keep acting out. And the trauma that we all experience as children, because it's set up that way, and the misunderstandings and the whatever, the horrible things that people do to you. Well, okay, here's the thing. You get to be older, you're going to wind up doing some of those horrible things to other people. You're aware of that, right? It just goes with the territory. And if you've been in the that complex of victim and victimizer, well then, you're going to find yourself on both sides of that, and hopefully begin to realize that that's a very, very spicy soup you're eating. Victims they're very, very violent people. Very violent. And so it's a complex, it's a symptom, it's a cluster, it's a consciousness, and it's optional. Guilt and shame and fear and panic and I'm not good enough and how could you do that to me and all that stuff, that's a consciousness. It's got its own rules, its own feeling states, and it's really, really super unpleasant for me. A lot of people eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it's not mine anymore. And then you've got this 11th dimension energy of like galactic wisdom, purity, that the words actually make tones. They're so beautiful. And the words, one word has the density of a black hole. I mean, the purity of that energy and the simplicity of the wisdom and the trust that I feel in that vibration is diametrically opposed to the self-hate and the fear and the life and death bullshit that the third dimensional reality that I lived in, and I would imagine that you've dipped your toe in at least. Wow, you know, these are vastly incompatible realities. And yet I contained all of that. And I had a really, so if I'm having like victim kind of passion plays happen in my life, do you think I'm doing that on my own? No, I'm doing that with people who are also hooked into that bullshit, right? So there's all of that going on. A whole troop of people who would love to engage me in that kind of, I don't know, it's like in self-hate, basically. And that's all I had for so long. And then my spiritual lights came on again. I walked away from my soul for a long time and just figured I would do it bareback. I would live life without any kind of spiritual cheating. It was really hard. And now the lights came on and I realized, oh, I had turned them off. Yeah, it was me. And this was a really fun experiment, but victimization and bullies and all that stuff and serving other people without thought of yourself and all that stuff, okay, keep going. You can keep doing that, but it's not for me anymore. There's something else that's more real to me than that. And the problem with, I would say, lower third dimensional reality or the agreement field, that particular agreement field, is that it really is very hypnotic. The only way that you can really have fun with it is to completely and utterly believe that it's true, and it's not. Anytime you're invited to or required to hate yourself, that's an agreement field you probably need to excuse yourself from. But, you know, and hate is a strong word, but even disapprove of yourself, or question yourself, or doubt yourself, or fear yourself. Why would you hang out with anybody who would do that to you? And why would you just ascribe to a religion that requires you to do that to yourself? It doesn't seem quite intelligent, doesn't seem very healing. Excuse me. As I cough my lungs out, I'm talking about healing. Anyhow, um, I've I can remember being in 2012 thinking, and I wrote it too a couple times. I wish that I had a map of consciousness. I wish there's a way that I could map where I go, because I sometimes don't know exactly how to get back here, to these good, solid places of self-love, of I can feel creator and I'm feeling safe and happy and competent. And I'm remembering who I am. It was really hard to hold on to that. And so for me, I'm finding that it's easier for me to stay conscious among people who are not conscious. And before, I always just sort of became unconscious too. Uncomfortably so. And it was very, very automatic. I didn't even know it was happening. And you could call it a test, I suppose. But I was just waking up. Now things are different. And so, yeah, it's like, okay, now what do I do? What do I do with all of this? I know that people are getting ready. I know that they're more open to me and what I carry. What am I supposed to do? Well, the truth is I know damn well what I need to do. But I've been putting it off. And as soon as I say that, I can feel my team around me, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, yeah, we knew. And here's one thing it went off like a lightning bolt in my head one day when I realized that because of how I was, I would allow unexpected shocks to move me along. I had gotten to the place where I could count on calamity. I could count on the rug getting pulled out. And I could count on something I didn't want to have happening that changed my life. And there's many reasons for that, but for me, astrologically, one of them was I had Uranus in the 12th house as one of the it trined the moon, and it was the moon, Lilith, Uranus, all going down to a point, a yod, down to the Great Conjunction. I have Capricorn and I have Saturn and Jupiter conjunct at 25 degrees, 25 and 26. So what I began to notice was that I had become dependent on that Uranian energy to zap, 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 to change, to move, to fix, to alter. And I realized just recently, I don't want to live that way anymore. I think that's kind of lazy. It's completely understandable because, every month my moon was affected by Uranus. Okay, all right, giggle. And Black Moon Lilith, that was the complex. I was delivered shocks. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now, and I've been doing a lot of channeling, and it's been so intense. Sundays are really wonderful because that's the day that I let them come out and frolic, and they give me a weekly reading, tarot reading, and then they channel for me. And God, it helps. That's been part of the thing, is that I began to realize, well, wait a minute here. Just hold the phone. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm a channeler. I can use that energy for my life. I can ask the questions. I can get it's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's wisely using my resources. Once I realized that, I started to have a little bit more fun. I've been trusting my guidance more, and trusting myself more. So again, did my life get better? Well, yeah. Did it get better because I got better? Well, yeah. And is there such a thing as getting better? I just love myself more. I embrace the broken parts of me and the mean parts of me, even the crazy parts of me. I've been walking around feeling so sexy, so beautiful and attractive, and I'm just driving down the road. That's what I was trying to explain, like hours of that, of just really liking myself. And to me, after what I've been through, honey, that's just somebody who's been in the desert for a super long time, who is no longer at a little dinky oasis, but who finally made it out of that fucker. It's all this is. A lifetime of self-hate, a lifetime of self-doubt, a lifetime of not allowing myself to be me, and fearing the very best parts of myself. I'm not doing that anymore. And freaking miracles are happening. I'm very well aware that, people looking at my shit from 2012 forward, especially the video shit, I'm going to take a look at that and say, well, she's just fucking nutcase. Doesn't matter what comes out of her mouth. She's just, whatever. Good. I'm glad it was messy, and I'm glad it was hard to understand. It was camouflage, dear one. Do you know what I've accomplished? If you hang out with me for more than 5 minutes, you begin to appreciate. It comes through me now, and it's good. I'm not the tower card anymore for other people. I am an awakener. There's no getting around that. But knowing that, I've kind of made my own agreements. Send me the people who want to be awakened. Send me the ones who are ready. Send me the ones who already have and just want to be my friend. How about that? And I have that too. So many. I'm on a different timeline now. I guess you'd call it that. And I know what's going to happen. And I can't talk about it because you wouldn't believe me. And it's not for me to say. It's for you to figure out. And while that's happening, so many other things are being imagined and lived out. And that's good. Big things are afoot. It's really okay to trust your heart, to sink into your chest and let your mind breathe with your heart and lungs. Become the blood coursing through you. Let the blood become the colors you imagine as you sit in your chair. Tangerine, pink, turquoise, white. Let all those mind games go. All of the comparisons, all fear. Become your breath. Become your blood. What else matters than this breath now? And this one. And this one. I know there's much to accomplish. I know that I've already done my work. So the rest is fun. This is my vacation lifetime. And I didn't have to die to walk into it. Although, you know, a couple near-death experiences didn't hurt. There's a lot of research that you can do, but in essence, since 2012, it's been light show after light show after light show. It's been visions. It's been a mystery school. My whole life was a mystery school, but the last now I guess it's 7 years has been about ascension. And now I know I'm on a precipice. I know that I feel like a newborn in a way, because Uranus has just got into Taurus. This energy will be with us until after the Great Conjunction. And so I feel like I can kind of settle in to, because for me the outer planets are really important and they sort of key my experience. And so I'm very pleased that now I can kind of settle in and just get a handle on this. I use the Uranian energy more like an incandescent light bulb now rather than lightning bolts. So knowing that, I really feel like this Uranian energy in Taurus is going to be good for me, because I'm going to be able to sweep out some congested home areas. You know, it's the second house. I love that Uranus, which is all about sudden unexpected shocks and galactic energy, is in this house of self or of body, of physicality. So I'm not anticipating shocks and rug pulling outing. I'm just anticipating really beautiful, gentle Uranian energy being held high, illuminating my physical health and sexuality and wealth people are saying, oh, well, Uranus and Taurus, it means we're going to have a stock market crash, or we're going to have, finances are going to disappear. Yeah, probably. But there's a lot more to it than that. That's just fear talk. All that is, I don't feel safe and everything's changing too fast. If you think about what's happening internally, not even in your life, but just in your physical body, it helps, especially these days, because the whole name of the game is to have you look out there and forget what's going on inside of you. You are. You're the important one. You're writing the story that you're living. So I'm going to go ahead and put the teal swan thing out, and I will also mention that if you haven't seen Russian Doll yet on Netflix, and you're into this kind of stuff, I would suggest you watch it. The Umbrella Academy, that's another one that is that it did a really great job with timelines. There's some other things that are coming out. Use your discernment, because the entertainment's getting weird now, and not everything that's being portrayed is true, but a lot of it is assisting us, helping us play, helping us loosen up a little bit and explore alternate realities. We weren't talking about this shit 20 years ago, And now, if you go to Netflix and you push, I don't know, anything that is newer, you're going to find some form of this new agey stuff. It's not about God. It's just about high strangeness. So, the world isn't turning away anymore, in other words. And there sits my work, glistening like a diamond. For anybody who wants to read it. And there'll be those who will. And they'll understand what's been accomplished. They'll understand at what cost. They'll understand how much devotion and skill went into this. And until then, I'm having the time of my life. I'm holding down a job in paradise, guys. I don't have pain with every step. I feel my son's love, and my son feels mine. I have friends. I'm not alone anymore. I'm in paradise. And there's absolutely no way any of that should have happened. You can trust me.